I'm Matthew Kemps with Loan Wolf Realty with Spyglass Realty, and this is
Matt Kirschling with Gold Star Mortgage.
two Mats, one market.
Boom. So we wanted to kick it off because Mr. Kemps here said that everybody, for some reason, is waiting to list their home until March 1st.
Interesting, right? So
What's that about?
I just talked to another client who literally was texting me 40 seconds before we jumped on here, and text me. He goes, "Hey, I know where we were at listed at last year. I want to increase the price point of where we listed last year. Let's go aggressive March 1st." I'm like, "Okay, let's first run some comps. Let's have a conversation there. I'll send you the comps over today. We can have a plan, kind of a strategy in place. His plan is to get that property ready or throughout the month of February, go live March 1st. With that being said, just so everyone understands timeline, I'm still going to do like photography, video, everything else. That's still going to have to need to happen like this end of the third week of February.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll still need a plan. So he's got like 2 weeks in February to get it ready. But overall, just talking market, why would you want to list March 1st compared to now or next week or whatever? Market trends basically state from history that is the hottest time of the year to list it because you're planning for spring break. You're planning for the better weather. Like the weather in Austin this winter has been just like shitty the whole time. Like it's just it's been more. It's not like as bad as the ice storms that we had, but it's just been longer period. It's the same as rates.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
Our weather feels like rates right now.
Yeah. And you know, I always tell people, they're like, listing in March, it's our business is such a herd mentality, right? Like, and I get it from a listing standpoint. You go in March and there's obviously going to, it's a better time because it's nicer weather, whatever. But I guess this is a question I have for you. If there's more properties on the market, does that make your property value for more or less?
Okay, this is going to be add value to me here, okay?
Okay.
On Zillow, I have access to what's called listing showing case.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what listing I list on Zillow, not MLS, on Zillow,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to populate as one of the first 5 listings that you're going to see when you search for that city.
Okay.
So Zillow came out with this new feature called Showcase. So you're going to see like a little like sparkle dazzle little icon next to the listing.
Fancy.
Oh, it's sick. I love it because the first thing you see is my stuff.
Okay.
And as soon as you see the showcase listings pop up, that helps. But in regards to Matt's question, the more listings that are on the market, the harder it is to sell your property for the value that you want to sell it at.
Right.
Depending on where you list the price, depending on what the list price is. Sure, if there's, let's say today there's 1,600 probably 1,500 listings on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday when I was looking at the market, we had 165 new listings. Let's say we get to March and there is 2,000 listings. Okay. And on like a certain day, we're getting like 200, 250 new listings on Thursdays or Fridays when listings usually go live.
Right.
It is just statistically, it's going to be harder to sell your property compared to others unless you are just going to absolutely wow me with the price and wow me with the interiors and the exterior finishes and everything else.
Yeah, it's got to be a gem.
Yeah. So the best thing I can do is just market as best I can, get the best photography, get the best video, get the best floor plan, 3D interactive tour, slam agents with marketing material to make sure they know about it, do broker open, consider open houses for special scenarios. Anything usually above 1.5, I don't suggest it. But no, list your house now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, everything we always talk about on this podcast is kind of like the yin and the yang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you take from one place, you get it in another. So, because everybody asks me on the buy side, I don't deal with listings, obviously. And so everybody asks me on the buy side, when is the best time to buy? And it's like, well, it really depends on your appetite, right? Like I personally have always bought in the end of the year, in kind of like, to your point, crappier weather.
Yep.
Because I'm not as picky when it comes to real estate. I'm kind of desensitized to it. I see tons and tons of homes, virtually, physically, everything along those lines. So for me, I'm more like an investor where I kind of just look at the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that, if you're looking for the deal type of situation, then purchasing in colder weather is the way to go. But if you've got something specific that you're looking for, you're going to have way more opportunities to look at more homes, look at more options in the springtime. But you're probably going to pay more.
Yep. So let's use that same property we talked about last week, 9601 Rain Lily Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in Great Hills, there's, as of right now, and as of this morning, there's 4 listings that are over 3,000 square feet.
Okay.
This was 46 something. There was one of the listing that was over 4,000 that was priced like way too high, but this one was priced at 1.65. There's a reason, supply and demand. There's a reason it sold is under contract for over 500,000 over list.
Yeah.
Even though I say that, it sounds ridiculous me saying that. You're just like, Matt, nothing should sell for over 500,000 lists. Well, there isn't enough supply for the amount of buyers that are coming through, so the buyers are willing to pay more for it, and that's why you get these multiple offers, because we don't have the inventory to support the amount of people that want that area.
Yeah, that was one of those homes that we talked about, this one where that was the gem, that was the diamond, where it was an area that was very sought after. Things don't come up very often, and
correct. Those are rare scenarios right now.
Yeah,
like we're not, and I'm not saying every single listing is going to have multiple offers. It could if you price it correctly, but we don't have a lot of people who are pricing properties correctly. Going back to the same conversation how we started this podcast this morning, my guy wants to price it a little up here. We were listed here, and I'm like, hey, we got to figure out how to get like to here.
Mm-hmm.
I understand we've appreciated, but like we can't jump up.
Well, we've talked about on the podcast where if you don't own a home, the best time to buy is always now. Doesn't matter what rates are. It doesn't matter what properties values are. Anything along those lines, you just got to get in the game. But the debate has always been, for people who currently own a home, it is debatable. When is the best time to sell and buy a new home? And so it sounds like, going back to what you said in the beginning, you've got a lot of people who are gearing up to sell in the spring. What do you think it is when you're having these conversations that people are finally starting to come off the fence? I mean, it's been, almost 2 years since.
It goes back to our last episode comment you made. Rates are stabilizing. We don't have a lot of volatility on. There's a lot more understanding of what rates are doing right now, because we've been in a straight line of change.
Yeah, it's been about 6.5 weeks.
Just been like this.
Yeah.
Instead of being like this the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more comfort. Hey, I know what's going to happen. The only thing that I really see that could happen is maybe a little bit more this way. If we go that way, the Fed's just not going to do that. I don't see it happening with all the announcements they've made.
I would agree.
So there's a comfort level built in with the seller and the buyers, or buyers and sellers, however you want to say it. And we're just moving in a more comfortable direction.
Well, and it's funny because I had this conversation last night with one of my buddies, Matt Mintz. He's a financial advisor. And, when this whole thing kicked off as far as rates increasing, which was back in March of 2021, I always do these sales trainings, things like that in front of real estate agents. And at the time, for a solid 90 to, maybe 90 days, even 120 days, my pitch was, how are you going to make your clients feel, comfortable or confident in a market of uncertainty? And that's basically what we've experienced over the last 18 to 20 months is uncertainty. And so now when I talk to agents, they're like, yeah, things are picking up, things are getting better. And I ask them, I kind of know the answer, but I want to see what they think. And I say, why do you think that is? And they're like, well, rates are going down. And I'm like, well, they're not really going down at all, actually. We are just seeing, as you put it, less volatility. And it's interesting to me where, at the time when I was giving this speech, I felt good about it. But at the same time, there's always a part of me when I'm doing future predictions where I'm like, shit, I could be wrong. No one really knows. Oh. Well, that one aged well, thank God. And it is interesting to watch how certainty is 100% the thing in our business that people want. I mean, we talk about it when we're writing offers, right? Me as the lender, I'm reaching out to the listing agent. We're saying, hey, we can do 0-day financing. We can close this in 4. We're not always the highest and best, but we're the closest to a guarantee. Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting how in this business, if everybody could really have it the way they want it, it has nothing to do with rate. It has nothing to do with price. It has everything to do with I want it. Can you guarantee these terms and conditions today?
Mm-hmm. And can my expectations be set?
Yeah. 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 And it's, because everybody will tell you when you're on a sales call, what are you waiting for? And, I want rates to go down, or, property values are high, or whatever it is. But in reality, it's you just want a guarantee of what you're going to get in the very beginning. And unfortunately, this is a business where that is very difficult to do, but we can get pretty darn close. Mm-hmm. And in markets where it is less volatile, we just see more confidence, we see more business. And it's interesting because I don't even think the consumer, who is basically the one we're talking about, knows that. Mm-hmm. Why do you feel comfortable now? I don't know. I think it's because rates have come down. No, they haven't. It's I just think this is what it is, and I'm confident, like you put it, I know what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. So
it's not going to be a shock or change or let's say I get under contract and all of a sudden expectation is called 6.5.
Because even if rates
Yeah.
were to go down, buyers are going to sit on the fence still, and they're going to go, let's see if they go lower.
Exactly. You got it up before I said it.
Right. Right.
Yep.
It's like, so even, with agents, they're like, I just wish rates could get a little bit lower. It's like, no, you just need them to level off.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, you'll start to see things pick back up, which they are. I mean, it's way busier than I thought it would be. It really is. And it's exciting, So those of you that are thinking about purchasing or buying, I'm warning you right now, like it's back. It's back.
Just based off activity, like I went live with the listing yesterday for 1.2, and we didn't get any showings, but I have 47 saves in the first day. Like I was not expecting that to happen. Like typically on an average listing, we get about 10 to 15 saves at best on the first day, especially something over $1 million.
Yeah.
And I got that many. I was like, what? Okay. Well, I don't have a showing yet, but I have all these people looking. So it's like, I bet you like that when we get past this weekend, we get to the next week, and let's say I get to 100 saves. I don't have any showings yet. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of people in the back end just watching the data that are looking, and they're really, really intensely looking. And they want to know, like, what's going to happen to this house? Is someone going to react to it? Is there going to be a deadline on it? I don't want to set my expectations ahead, or I don't want to get false expectations of going into it. So as soon as someone, like, jumps into the water and, like, goes to take a peek at it, I kind of expect it to be like a flow over effect where it's going to be like, first one, oh, now we're going to go all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We're talking about all the psychology that's associated with this. And the one thing that, I've been doing this quite some time. And the one thing that I didn't ever notice until this particular like downturn, whatever you want to call it, is when things are slower and, we're talking about deals basically because, people weren't buying like they were before. The type of client that is like predominant in that market is the absolute worst. I mean, not all of them. I've had some fantastic clients over the last like 20 months, but definitely the worst. Definitely the worst of my clients in like 10 years. Matt and I had a deal that just wrapped up recently, and it was out of this world as far as what we had to deal with the client. And what I'm getting at is that as things pick back up and competition becomes more of a thing in the market, you start to notice clients like that. We just don't. No one has the time or even patience for them, and they go away. And I think that is what I am the absolute most excited about in this market. Forget about the money. Forget about the deals. Even and I know it's cliche, but like I really do enjoy like getting people into their homes. There's a feel good. I go to all my closings. All of that is super exciting for me. But the part I'm most excited about is eliminating the like let's make a deal guy who is constantly at every corner lying and trying to like figure out a hack and is just questioning everything I'm doing. And yeah, man, I can't wait. I
should have employed him.
did I forward you the email I sent?
There's a few.
The one that I did everything in red?
Yes.
Yeah. I did. The one thing that I feel like, and I think it's me. It could just be the market with the clients that I was talking about, but maybe it's just me. As I get older, I've identified that I'm here to answer questions. That's my job, right? And I understand you're making like your biggest financial purchase, and it can be scary. And, a lot of these clients, I don't know them when I meet them. So it's important that we establish a trust and we establish a relationship and everything. And I do my best. If I can, I go out of my way to meet clients in person. I do Zooms. I do everything I can to try to say, hey, like I'm a real person in your local market. Like you could come to my house, see where I live, whatever, right? Whatever it's going to take to create. I'm just saying, like whatever it is, like I'm not some guy in a call center where like I don't know who I am. And there are just certain clients where it just constantly at every turn is questioning what I'm doing. And I can't help but think like there's two things that go through my mind. Either I haven't established enough trust with you, and that's on me, right? Or you just think I'm totally incompetent.
It makes you feel better because we're talking about this one client. He's taking way too much of our time. I don't think I ever established trust with him either. and I tried really hard.
Right.
I don't think it's on you. That scenario is not on you.
Well, I mean, it's not just him. He is like, this end of the spectrum. Like, if this is a client who's like, Matt, I know you, I trust you, like, I know you're going to do good by me. And then there's the client that is constantly like thinking I'm just trying to steal their wallet. Like, he was over here. But there are people who are not as bad as him, but also at every, corner. And I get it,
I kind of want to forward this to him.
I hope he watches it. It's like, I get it. Like, I know I single-handedly created the, Great Recession in 2008, right? Like, I'm a step above a used car salesman, understood, but then at the same time, you're trying to borrow $750,000 from me, but I'm a douchebag. So I get it. You have to constantly wonder how I'm fucking you over. But yeah, I almost want to ask clients, like, what is it? Is it trust or is it incompetence? Because like, I lie awake in bed and think about this shit. Like, I do. And I'm like, which is it? Does he think I'm a moron or does he think I'm trying to screw him over? And if it, whichever it is, like, if you think I'm incompetent, like, you should fire me straight up. Like,
They almost did. There was four of those involved.
right. Exactly. It's like, you shouldn't work with me if you don't think I'm good at what I do. And if you don't trust me, like, we need to hash that out. Like, I will literally show you everything. I even sent him like the rate lock agreement. We gave him like, $5,000 in like credits and everything along those lines because I knew that we were competing with 900 lenders. And at the end of the day, not to be cliche, we just wanted to get it done for you, right?
Thank you. Because he actually was.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know how much legal, like how much I can go to. Long story short, there were multiple appraisals being sent to title at the same exact time.
I saw his bank statements.
Yeah.
He had paid for 3 appraisals. One of them was mine and 2 from other companies paying for appraisals. This guy spent $1,500, no, like $1,700 on appraisals, trying to like, get the very best deal, and then wanted to change everything in the contract like the day before closing.
Yeah.
Nightmare. You know how good this clip's going to do?
It's probably going to do really well.
These clips always do good. That is one thing I've learned from doing podcasts is anything that is like negative does amazing. And then, as I got into this originally, I thought, oh, I'm going to put together so much good content. It's going to be so educational. And sometimes I'll put together a clip where I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. This is really the process of like purchasing a home. And like anybody who wants to like, this is so good. And it gets like fucking 50 views.
Yeah.
And then the one where we're like shitting on a client, or like Chase Kangalosi and I are like hammered talking about like some situation, like Ina's dick pic one where guys are sending dick pics to random real estate agents, like 500 views. It's like people.
That's too good.
People amaze me, man. People amaze me. So yeah, this podcast has turned into something where when I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, this clip's going to do fantastic because we just kind of like shit all over a client. But fuck that guy.
Retweet.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. I think it's really because it's something that I feel like every business owner or even just anybody can relate to. Like everybody's had that guy. And
I might as well just add on to this.
Yeah.
He did. So when you're a buyer, you don't pay for your commission 99% of the time.
Right.
This was a for sale by owner, and I had to negotiate my commission. So in this scenario, I would negotiate a retainer up front, which what a retainer means is that you pay me up front to help you go through the entire process. And then whatever the commission would be for the contract, we'd also apply commission there. So, okay, I'm be blunt. This guy is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He didn't pay my retainer.
Didn't pay it.
Nope. Then we get under contract, and he goes, oh, let's put the retainer into there. I'm like, no, there's another commission involved there, too. No, let's just put the retainer in there. We'll figure something out later. I'm like, this is on me. I should have said no, F off. And then we never would have been this scenario. Like, this podcast this episode would never have existed.
Well, thank God for the content, right?
So anyways, we get under contract, and then the day before closing, just how Matt was talking about how he had almost negotiated his contract, he comes back to me and says, hey, can I pay you the commission outside of closing, maybe like next week or something? I'll provide you a check, but don't cash the check. And I'm like, what? No. Like, no, I'm not even you're going to pay me less than less than a third of what I should be making, and not even close. No. And he goes, I can't afford it. So then Matt and I
He wasn't lying. He
Oh, really?
he could barely afford it. He could barely afford this house.
No, he could afford the commission, though.
Barely.
But he could afford it.
Yes.
He told me he didn't have the money for
Right.
it.
Yeah.
So anyways, we get down the road, close. You would have never thought there was any issue going on. Act like a total kind guy in person until his. God, let's talk about the kid. Oh man.
Well, the kid is what made me realize. So I had this conversation with Ina, and she was like, Matt, you have to understand, because I wanted to go to this closing, but I had another close. So the guy shows up 20 minutes late to his closing, for the record. Like, totally professional, of course. And I had another closing I had to be to with a first-time home buyer. They had just gotten married. Like, it was like the ideal situation. It was the feel-good closing, right? Like, young kid, just got married. They're talking about having kids. They're so excited they finally can buy a house. And I'm like, I can't fucking blow this awesome experience off for this douchebag. So I leave. But I really wanted to be at the closing because I wanted to just look this dude in the eye and would, basically say, like, dude, you're an asshole, right? Like, you've been so difficult throughout the entire process, and it didn't have to be that way. I actually put that in an email. I didn't hold anything back. And I wanted to meet him because in my mind, this was going to be the moment that this guy was going to be like, man, I'm a dick, But Kemps over here was like, bro, you have no idea. This guy is oblivious to like who he is and like everything he's doing. Like here, I thought maybe in my mind, there was two options. Either A, the guy was a complete asshole and was going to kind of be like, shit, I'm an asshole. Or he was going to be like, yeah, I'm an asshole, like deal with it, right? Like that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like, this is who I am. I'm a hard-nosed, tough whatever the fuck people think they are. And you basically made it clear, like, this guy is oblivious to what he's doing, how
his wife is so nice, though.
Oh, I agree. Poor woman. Poor woman. She has to deal with
Poor kid.
a man-child. Yeah. Sounds like the kid just does whatever he wants.
Kid does
Tell the kid story.
Okay.
Go with the kid story. I think I got somebody here.
Okay. So, kid. I'm going to guess this kid's 3 or 4 years old. He first walks in, he's screaming. Like, he's a kid, I get it. Well, then we get into the actual closing room. The kid decides that he wants to pick up the phone, the conference room phone, and keep hanging it up. So every time someone got on a phone call, he was hanging up their phone call. Then he starts to scream off the top of his lungs, ends up throwing a remote, puts a full hole through the drywall. There's another bench where it's a little table, but there's another like ledge on the table. Starts kicking and screaming, hits that goes in the drywall, chips that. So they end up having to go into the back and pull basically the phone line out of the wall. So this kid stops hanging up the phone. Then it was a nightmare. Like I got to a part where I was like, are you gonna parent your child? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, sorry, I did have someone here. I took care of it. My apologies. Just think though.
Was that a Spidey sense? How'd you know that?
I was watching the time. He said he was going to be here, and I thought he was just going to chill, but he just dropped off. It was Michael Beltran. Shout out to Flash Media Marketing. He's the one that does all of the edits and everything on this podcast. Couldn't have kicked this podcast off the way that it kicked off without him. So thank you, Michael. But we missed him. He dropped everything off. But just think, this kid who is receiving little to no parenting, who clearly is out of control, give it.
Oh, I forgot to talk.
Give it 20 years, and he'll be our client, and we'll be.
No, he won't. Forgot to talk about the orange juice. We almost had to have a second pair of closing documents. This kid legit poured the orange juice, and it got onto thankfully the title rep picked up all the documents in time fast enough and reacted. She's wearing a nice suit. Kind of would have felt bad if it got on her, but the whole table is now just soaked with orange juice. And then so we cleaned up quickly. She puts the documents back down, and as soon as she's pulling, it goes like oh, dude, it's.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Those of you that know me know I don't have kids, and I have no intention of having children. But man, it's stuff like that that just terrifies me for the future. Where it's like you wonder where these people come from, and there's this comedian that does this bit, and I think about it all the time. When it's like the bit is like the guy goes, he's playing as the customer, and then it flips to him, and it's like basically a Karen where it's like, I want to speak to your manager, right? And he's like, I want to speak to your mother. I want to find the human being that raised a grown adult to act like a fucking baby, right? And you see it like, I feel like we just watched the next, or not the next, but like podcast 2500,
Yeah.
where this 4-year-old kid is now buying a home, and we're like, where the fuck do these people come from? Well, apparently that's how they're parented. So parents out there, raise your kids so we don't have to have shitty humans like 20 years from now.
I can tell you, I'll do everything I possibly can.
Thank you.
I got a 14-day-old, so let's call it a 2-week-old.
Right.
I don't mean to be that guy. Sorry, did not mean to do that.
How many hours?
I can't do the math
Right,
fast.
right. How many hours old? Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm on about 3 hours of sleep right now. My wife's probably on 30 minutes. She is an animal, and she's going to be on her computer doing TC work like an absolute crazy person here shortly.
Mama bear.
Yeah, she holds down the fort.
It's awesome. Yeah, again, no children for me, but I'm at that age where I have watched so many of my friends go through it. And the one thing that I've identified about people who have children, you know, you always hear like life just flies by, man. When you have fucking kids, it literally flies by. I've watched my friends on autopilot is what it just looks like, where they're like dropping kids off, picking kids up, dressing kids, feeding kids. And they're like, they're not there. Like they're not there. And they're just doing it. And then all of a sudden, by the time like they have a moment where here, you know, I'm like, hey, let's catch up. Let's get something at happy hour or whatever. And I'm having a conversation with them, and I can like grab their like full attention for like a second, and you see them kind of like shake out of it, and they're like, where am I? That, to me, as an outsider looking in, is parenting in a nutshell.
Well, if I get into autopilot, please let me know.
You won't even listen. You will like, it goes, man. It goes. It's crazy. But you know, what are your other options, right? Like, you know, it's one of those things like I grew up, you know, in an age where the whole idea of having like a stay-at-home mom was kind of starting to go away. And I feel like now it's almost non-existent. You know, most people have, you know, both the mother and the father working. And unless you have like a stay-at-home mom where, I mean, hardest job you can have, man. I'm not even joking. Like, you know, being like a mother and dealing with orange juice spilling snot-nosed rugrats, man. I mean, toughest job out there. And thankless a lot of times. Unless you have like a stay-at-home mother like that, man, it's just like you have to be on autopilot. What are your options? You know, losing sleep, doing your job, doing all the things, and that's why I don't have kids.
Weird part though, I actually feel better than I thought I would.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, I feel like you know, not to get like trippy, but I think about this a lot when it comes to work, right? Like, again, I hate relating things to children because I don't have them. And people are like, fuck you, you don't have kids. And you're right, I don't. I don't know how hard it is. But I feel like human beings. Yeah, I see it. I mean, it looks tough. I feel like human beings in general, like if you don't have like, my buddy always says this, if you don't have like a rock to push up a hill, you know, that's like in my mind the like source of depression. That's the source of just like, you know, feeling empty. And I can totally see how like having a kid and having this like, you know, amazing, like super crazy responsibility over this like little thing that you just like fucking love to death. I can see how that is like really rewarding and kind of that rock that you push up a hill that makes things like, you know, really feel like, yeah, I got this thing I got to do that makes me feel good. And, but at the same time, man, I think about, I got a buddy, Mike Dewar, who, you know, he's like best man at my wedding and all this stuff, like my best friend, very candid with me. And I remember when he had like a kid your age, he was constantly telling me stories about how he was always having these like almost like dreams or just just situations where he would think of like how this kid was going to die, how he was going to just like drop it or like close it in the door or something, like, you know, and he's like, I'm always just freaking out about how am I going to fuck this up?
Oh God.
He's like, it terrified me for like months.
I just see her dropping her, like on the transfer from like when she's feeding to when like I'm now taking over the bottles in there. Like, okay, don't fuck this one up. All right, okay, that's the only one.
I when he had his son, I lived 3 houses down, and I was over every single day, and I even did like kangaroo time with this kid. I used to come home on Sundays from the bar hammered, and I would give me that baby because his wife was like super cool with me too, and she like kind of in the timeline that you are. The kid's like 2 weeks old. She's only sleeping like 3 hours a day, and I would come home after like football, just like totally toasted. I'm like, give me that baby. And she's like, all right. And I take my shirt off and I lay and do like kangaroo time, like chest to chest with this kid, Leo. Love you, man. He's like fucking 10 now. And I remember just, always being around this kid. And I finally, when he got to be like, I don't know, probably like maybe 16 or 18 months. See, now I'm that guy. He was teething. And this kid bit me so hard when I was holding him one time in my neck. And I was like, whoa, hey, whoa. And I look at him and he just like lost it and cried. I felt so bad about it. I think about that moment a lot. But that little bastard bit me hard, like real hard, Leo. Yeah, you know him. He doesn't remember, but I do. And it was not okay. And it's stuff like that, man. Tough job. Tough job.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you, because like, I definitely yelled at him, probably a little louder than I should have, and he's got his little ears, and he probably hurt his ears. But you can't be biting people, Leo. You can't be biting people. But, yeah, tough gig as a parent. So the other thing I wanted to touch on before we kind of wrap up, football, man.
Yep.
We haven't done the Wolf's Kitchen in a while.
So this one's not getting in time for AFC and NFC Championship.
No, but we can do Super Bowl.
We can.
We can do Super Bowl
We
predictions.
might sound dumb, but because we could have two teams that we picked that don't even make it. But I can tell you who's gonna win.
The Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Give it to me.
Ravens.
Interesting. I don't want to see the Ravens.
I don't either. I want the Lions to win.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I want the Lions to win.
Lions Ravens matchup would be kind of sick. I just don't know they can control Lamar.
Yeah, so this week we've got San Fran versus Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got Baltimore versus why am I forgetting the fourth team now?
I'm not too.
What the fuck? Someone we don't care about apparently. You got
Bills.
Bills. Yeah.
No, Chiefs. We're the Chiefs.
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 Fuck the Chiefs, man. I'm so tired of seeing Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. Now fucking his brother's like, a celebrity as well.
And shirtless.
Yeah. It's
I did respect that. I do love.
the Kelce brothers are cool. They're from Ohio.
I know.
They're East Siders though. So I'm from Cleveland, and you got West Side of Cleveland, East Side of Cleveland. They're East Siders.
They went to Cincy, right?
For college?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I knew. But
They went to Cincy because he was older brother was center. Then Travis got kicked off, and older brother had to talk to coach to let him go back to the team. I remember seeing that old document.
Why did he get kicked off? Just being a douchebag?
Just being Travis.
Okay. I don't know Travis Kelce, but if he's from Cleveland, I'm sure he's pretty rowdy.
Pretty sure it was drinking involved. And a little bit.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. A little nose candy or something?
I don't know that part. Not going to comment there. Could be. Wouldn't be shocked.
Well, I'm exhausted with seeing all of that with the Chiefs, and I definitely do not want to see them in the Super Bowl. So you're right. I can't believe I'm going to say this because obviously the Ravens are in the same division as the Browns, but I do want to see them win so that we don't have to watch Kansas City any longer. So, yeah, okay, they're going into the Super Bowl. And then I would love to see Detroit
upset Niners.
Upset the Niners. The last I saw, the spread was 6.5.
Okay.
Obviously to Detroit.
You mean like 49ers minus 6.5?
Yeah, minus 6.5.
Yeah.
Right. Or
yeah.
Whatever you want to. Yeah. So minus 6.5. And I feel like if I was betting on that game.
Oh my God! Money line plus 6.5. Rip it.
You think?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going. We're going Detroit.
Yep.
I mean, I want Detroit to win, but I just feel like, nah, fuck it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. You're right.
Hutchinson's gonna absolutely destroy Purdy.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know. I just feel like who's in the 49ers division? You got 49ers. You got
Rams.
Shitty team.
Chargers.
Shittier team. Is it?
I don't know.
Is it Broncos?
Could be.
Either way, they're in a fucking dog shit division, right? Yeah. And I'm just thinking like, I mean, the Lions are kind of in a shitty division too.
Doesn't matter. They got there.
All right.
They didn't win a single game. Like 4 or 5 years ago?
That's true.
Yeah, we went 0-16 for a year.
Man, if we could do Ravens, Detroit, Super Bowl, That would be awesome because then I could totally root against Baltimore like I would always do. But you're right. I mean, that's going to. Why are the Ravens so good? Is it really
It's Lamar.
Lamar? He's a beast.
You're either running an RPO,
Mm-hmm.
or he's running a bootleg,
Mm-hmm.
or he's in the pocket and the O-line protects him, and then he has a gap.
That
Like,
is.
he can get a first down at any point, so the drive never dies.
He's a big dude.
I don't even know. He's just fast.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you watch him like.
He's not like Josh Allen big.
Okay. Is that right?
Josh Allen's huge. Josh Allen's like 6'5".
I'm pretty sure Lamar is like right there. Look it up. Lamar Jackson's a big dude. And I think that's part of the problem. And this, for all of you Baker Mayfield fucking fans who were talking shit because Baker made it further than the Browns, first of all, I don't hate Baker Mayfield. I think he's a really nice guy. But he's a small dude. And that's why I didn't like him for Cleveland, because he got injured, just like all small quarterbacks do. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because right now we're talking about big guys that are in the quarterback position.
6'2".
He's only 6'2"?
215.
I mean, it's still a lot bigger than Baker fucking Mayfield. But
Hold on. I actually think they might be the same.
no, Baker Mayfield's like my size.
Weight-wise.
He's only like fucking 6 foot. If that. He might even be like 5'11".
Hold on. Oh, we're the same age. I don't know that.
Who, you and Baker?
Yeah, he's 6'1".
No way. Baker Mayfield is not fucking 6'1".
They're the same weight, too.
Maybe the weight. I can't believe Lamar Jackson's only 6'2".
Yeah.
That's a shocker.
He's just so fast, dog.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I like the days of big quarterbacks. I like the fucking Peyton Mannings. I like the...
Do you remember the Kentucky quarterback who was 325 pounds?
No.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm actually have to throw this up onto the screen. Hold on. Kentucky QB over 300. I forget his name. I was talking to someone about this guy a few days ago. Jared Lorenzen.
He never played in the league, though, right?
No. I'm pretty sure he's dead. He played arena football. Look at it. That's a quarterback.
Jesus. That's a big boy. Yeah, you could. It'll show up.
Okay. I'll put. Actually, I think I'm gonna tell the editor to throw. Oh, he did play in the league. He did.
Who?
He played for the Giants.
Pun intended. Wow. Well, he's trimmed up there. 320 in that photo.
And he threw left-handed.
Isn't what's his face? Isn't Mahomes left-handed?
No.
But doesn't he throw left-handed?
He can do everything.
He can do everything.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking man.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, motherfucker. Well, I would love to see. All right, so let's make our bets. We're going Detroit this week for 49 against 49ers.
Yep. And then we're gonna run with the Lions.
And then
then we're gonna run with Ravens.
And then we're running with the Ravens against Buffalo.
Yeah, but what's that spread? That game's actually gonna be better than the Lions game.
I'm rooting for Buffalo. Yeah, what is the spread? Maybe I'll bet on Buffalo.
I don't want.
Who do we bet with in Texas? You can't bet in Texas, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta run. You can Bovada it.
Gotta have a guy.
But you can go on Bovada.
Okay.
But then you have to wait for Canadian check to come through, and it takes like 2 weeks to get it.
Canadian gay.
Yeah. Oh, hey there, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
I'm not your guy, buddy. Hold on. What's the actual line of this? Speaking of Canadians, have you watched? Oh my God! Now I just blanked on the name. Shoresy. On Hulu. Gotta watch it.
I canceled all my subscriptions like 60 days ago because I'm broke.
Because you download one of those apps and find out you're paying like for multiple different things.
No, I'm just broke. So I was like, oh man, what do I need to do? So here's a fun fact about me lately that is actually. I recommend this. I got one of those antennas that you can like plug into your TV and watch like regular antenna TV. And I'm old enough to where like, dude, I'm watching like old game shows. I'm watching like Saved by the Bell, that 70s show, like All in the Family.
I'm gonna roll to your house you're gonna have a Lone Star in your hand. You're gonna be about Price is Right. All right, no, it's gonna be 5 on 5.
Dude, I watch the fucking news every night now. I'm not joking. Like KVU, Austin. Shout out to KVU Austin. You guys should put me on, man. I mean, you probably have the same followers I do. But it's good. It's good. And my television experiences, though, to your point with the Hulu. No, I haven't seen shit.
Okay, well, it's about a guy who is profoundly aggressive. with his language and the way he plays hockey,
Mm,
and the Canadian accents with the hockey Canadian thing going on. Oh my
yeah.
god, I freaking love it. It's so douchey at the same time, but so funny. Oh, I love it.
Right
And
on, eh?
there's another show
Don't they
that
say like Wicked out there and everything? No, that's Boston.
no, like most of this, like it'd be like, oh hey there, buddy. You can be playing with some. You can play the sticks today. Hey, oh buddy, hey.
I always joke around down here and say I'm from a border town, and people are like, oh, where? Like the Valley, like El Paso? I'm like, no, Cleveland. And then everybody thinks about it for a second, and they're like, okay, I get it. Because when we, Canada's got a 19 drinking age.
Yep.
And we used to go to Canada probably at least once a month. We'd go gamble and drink and everything between like the ages of 19 and 21. I've definitely spent my fair share of time in Canada.
Did you go to Windsor? Or where'd you
Yeah,
go?
Windsor.
Yeah.
It was only like an hour and a half drive.
So I flew into Detroit for one of those Monday qualifiers I played. Flew into Detroit, drove across the border, went to Windsor. The tournament was actually in Windsor. I actually like that town a lot.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a college there too. It's a college town, and it was the first time I ever gambled. First time I ever gambled in my life at a casino. I go, and we're 19 years old, and everyone I'm with is so jacked up to go to the all-you-can-eat buffet because we're just like broke 19-year-old teenagers. And I'm like, no. I just want to put like $20 in a slot machine. I just want to do a little bit of gambling. I've never gambled in my life.
Mm.
I put $20 in a slot machine. I pull it one time. I won $4,000.
Stop.
True story. Like the fucking bell goes off. The lady comes over. They put the little slip in there so no one can play on it. They come over. I'm like, is this really happening? They're like, yeah. The guy fucking brings over the cart, pays me out $4,000, and then she takes the little thing out and she's like, well, you still have like $10 in the machine, so you might as well just play it out. I'm like, okay. I pull it once, I lose. I pull it twice, I win $350.
Oh my god.
I swear to God. I call my dad. I'm like, Dad, you're never going to believe this. I just won like $4,300. He's like, get the fuck out of that casino right now. Do not bet anymore. Leave now. I was like, okay. So I leave, and I'm so paranoid I'm going to get robbed, right? I've got $4,300. I'm 19 years old, right? And for the record, this is over 20 years ago. So $4,300. This is like having 10 fucking grand, right? So I put the money in my shoe because I'm like paranoid I'm going to get robbed. I put like $1,000 in my pocket. I put like $3,000 in my shoe. We go out. I take everybody out to dinner. We go to the strip club. We're getting lap dances. I mean, we're being 19-year-old fucking douchebags. It was awesome. And
Sure it was.
It was. It was epic. I go home or go to the hotel hammered. I wake up in the morning. I barely remember what the heck happened. And I'm like, where's all my money? I can't find my money.
Spent all of it.
I'm like, I thought maybe I spent it. Maybe someone stole it. I remember we were hanging out with these Canadian guys. The dude's name was Dean. I'll never forget. Hanging out with Dean. I call him. I'm like, dude, did I get robbed? Did someone take my money? Did you take my money? He's like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
no one knows where your money is. I'm like, fuck. I'm pacing around the hotel. Everyone's like, well, we're going to go to breakfast. I'm so bummed. I go to put my clothes on and everything. I go get my shoes, and in my shoe is like $3,000.
So you only spent $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
It's like one of my favorite stories. And I went home. I remember my dad had just lent me like $5,000 like 6 months ago to buy a car. I bought a really junky, reliable Honda Civic, 2-door, black, which my buddy wrecked. Anyway, and I remember my dad lent me like $5,000. I'd already paid like $1,000 off, and I remember it was like 6 months into me making payments, and I'm like, "Here's all your money." I gave him $3,000, and he was just so pumped that I won all this money, and then gave it to him. He's like, "Don't even worry about the extra $1,000. We're fucking even."
Oh, it's so good.
Isn't that a good story?
So good.
Well, shit, we should just end on that, huh?
That's a pretty good one.
But let's real quick cover the Wolf's Kitchen here.
Yep.
So we're going Baltimore versus Bills. We're picking Baltimore.
-3.5.
That's it? Whew. I don't know, man.
Sorry, it's not the Bills. It's the Chiefs.
It's the Chiefs. I keep saying the fucking Bills. Well, I just want to see the Chiefs lose. So I'm going Baltimore, and then 49ers, Detroit. We're going Detroit. So that would be a Super Bowl.
And that's +7.5.
Yeah. And then we're doing Super Bowl's going to be Lions, Ravens, and you're saying Ravens are taking it.
But I don't want them to.
But you don't want them to. But I mean,
And we'll watch it at Costa de Kemps.
okay. That's right. I forgot about that. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Got Rudy's coming again.
Okay. Fuck
if you want to smoke something too, we can.
Okay. I got one of those dino beef ribs that I got from this Hometown Meats.
So-
Shout out to Hometown Meats in Luling. My buddy put me onto this place. No hormones, no all the things, and it's the same price as HEB.
Damn.
You just got to drive far to get it. So we just go and drop like $4 on beef. But I got a dino beef rib thing that we can do.
Do it.
All right, sweet. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Who am I looking for this week? I am looking for people that are current homeowners that are trying to figure out. I think I called this one out the other week, but I'm rolling with it again. Current homeowners that have equity in their property that are thinking about buying a new home. I want to show you how not only we're going to get you into your new home, but we're going to take the equity and instead of utilizing it as a down payment, we're going to pay off all your debt.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to reduce your outgoing monthly expenses. We're going to get you into that new home with the minimum down payment, and we're going to take that equity. We're going to set you back to zero, and all will be right in your financial world.
Perfect. And I'm Matthew Kemps again with Lone Wolf Realty Group at Spyglass Realty. Exact same thing Matt said. If you have some equity, you got some debt you need to pay off, and you want to plan accordingly, love to walk you through both processes from selling your property up front, buying your next place, or even flip side, doing a recast with Matt where you're buying up front and then we're selling and then paying your debt off and recasting the loan. Whichever scenario works best for you, we'd love to help you guys out. Again, there's 2 Matts, 1 market, and thank you again.
Boom. Call us.